Oh, look at you, you beautiful, regal bastard. Hey, buddy.
Hey, you gotta have blue hair.
Yeah, man, it's anime. What else am I gonna do? Greetings and welcome back. This is Nexus Gaming News, recorded on Tuesday, November 2nd. I'm Garrett Weinzierl, here as always with Kyle Ferguson. And today we're going to be focusing less on a headline and more on a trend because, Kyle, it happened. I have finally given in. I, a recovering World of Warcraft podcaster, have finally started playing Final Fantasy XIV.
Congratulations on getting over the hump.
What do we call it? The Weeb hump? What kind of hump is it?
There are a lot of humps. In all honesty, just the graphics are different. And that's very shocking. There's not as much depth of field. Everything's kind of crunchy on the sides. The art direction isn't as crisp or as stylized as World of Warcraft players have come to know. And so when you see Final Fantasy, particularly see a stream where it's that much more kind of processed and crunchy, your eyes kind of go, oh no. And then you see the cat girls running around and the bunnies and all the summons, and you're like, oh man. And then people in maids dresses, you kind of go, I don't know.
Yeah, the textures are a little flat, and for me, I think, and I've mentioned this before, so pardon if you've heard me talk about my aversion to Final Fantasy in the past, but the map system and the constant loading between zones really throws me off and gives me a horrible sense of direction. However, in the past, I've given it like maybe an hour or two and like try to like watch my friends play. And like you said, I don't think this is the type of thing that shows particularly well. But you know, for about 2 weeks now, I've carved out a couple hours a night to kind of go in and really like give it a chance, spend some time with it. And I was already kind of, I feel like my heart was kind of thawing to Final Fantasy, but then I haven't told you this. Do you want to know at what moment exactly the charm smashed into me like a I don't know, one might say a calamity?
Was it when you, as a longtime Blood Elf player, realized you can be very pretty?
Oh no! I mean, you realize that the moment you start making a character, you can't make an ugly character. Everyone's beautiful. Everyone is so beautiful, and I want Final Fantasy hair. I wish I had that hair. I have very wiry, wavy hair that I have to beat into submission every morning. No, it was my wife Katie. We used to play a lot of WoW together. She hasn't been an MMO player for a few years now, but she's like, "Oh, you're trying that Final Fantasy, huh? Does it have non-combat pets?" And I was like, "I'm pretty sure it does." Well, let me log in. Let's see. I made it to a city. Let's go look around the city and you know, you're showing some gameplay of you and I the first time we partied up together just last night, as a matter of fact. And I went exactly where you are, which I haven't committed to memory any of these city names. I know I'm in like the Pirate City. That's just what I've been calling it.
There's so little voice acting in the beginning of the game that you're not going to get much help. So we will just avoid pronouncing characters, locations, anything of that note.
And if I attempt it and get it horribly wrong, I apologize in advance. Yeah, because so far I think I've only had like 3 voice acted cutscenes, so I have no idea how to pronounce most of the stuff in this game. But yeah, the pretty pirate city. I went right there where the like the portal crystal is, where you teleport to. Because I knew I'd run through there very briefly and saw a bunch of players. And so I'm like, all right, yeah, let's go take a look. Dude, we spent 30 minutes just walking from like player to player, looking at what cool ass pet they had out. And by osmosis realized like how cool everyone dresses. And this is the first time I noticed. I was like, wait, they're not standing the same as I'm standing. That's when I figured out you could have like a pose, and people were also sitting in different poses and had their weapons drawn in different poses. And this was the moment where I had just spent, I did nothing but spend 30 minutes just looking at people and how they've customized their character and gotten their personality into this game. And I know you've mentioned bards before. I don't know if it's been on this program or not, but I walked past a bard and I definitely heard Enter Sandman being played on a harpsichord or whatever the hell the harp-like instrument is in this game. And yeah, man, it felt like going to Disney when there's a theme day. And roughly 50% of the attendees are dressed up like, I don't know, like it's the Roaring Twenties or something. Like it got me. I was like, okay, I think I get it. Because as a longtime player of World of Warcraft, I can't tell you the last time I went to Stormwind just to look at people and the cool tier sets that they got. I really don't think I've done it since maybe like BC era, like going to Shatrath and being like, oh, what are the cool sets that I don't have access to? And at the time, I still wasn't really using fan sites, so that type of stuff wasn't spoiled for me ahead of time. And so, yeah, it kind of recaptured that for me, that idea of learning about the game by just being in the game, by just exploring the game. And granted, I think that could happen with any new MMO, like if it's new to you, because you don't, like, I don't know anything. I haven't done a great deal of research on this game. So I've kind of like, I've gotten some tips from some friends that are playing, or just like, like they know that I'm the type of player that I kind of like to figure things out. I don't like to be too over explained going into something. So I kept hearing the same tip from everyone, which was just stick to the main story. You stick to the main story. It's got kind of the flaming icon on the quests. Just do those. You're going to level up just fine. You'll figure it out. Like, keep it simple. Just play something you think you're going to like and stick with it. And so that's what I've been doing. Beyond that, like, I don't know how to get these cool armor sets. I was asking you last night when we were playing, I'm like, does it have transmog? Is that something I can do? Can I make myself look cool? And through that, and through this kind of just like intentionally going in ignorant, I've had a really good time, and I figured it out. Like, it's just charming. Like, this game just oozes charm, even if it's not the prettiest in the world. I definitely do. I would say I still prefer the look of World of Warcraft, but yeah, damn, it's really charming. I don't play a lot of JRPGs. It's like reminding me of like Ocarina of Time levels of like, to me, what is like kind of weird, charming, off color, not sure it's meant to be funny Japanese influence.
And the music immediately kind of takes you to that space too.
Oh yeah, the soundtrack's really good actually. Yeah, I've been, when I'm out doing more, I'll play podcasts when I'm actually out doing quests, but then when like I'm in town and I'm like, turning in quests and stuff and trying to read, I pause that stuff and I turn the game back up. And yeah, the soundtrack's charming as hell. I love it.
Well, and you brought up something that really captured me. I was pulled into the game by the soundtrack itself, because it becomes very varied. I went to Spotify, I started listening around, like, how can so many different types of music be in a single game? But you brought up just people having fun and sitting differently, standing differently, all the different outfits, no mounts in town, kind of adding to that clutter and visual just madness. Bards playing, people jumping, pausing your poses so people make like Dragon Ball style finger touch kind of poses, because you can do a pose to a point of then freezing or syncing your dances together. There's all these little tiny things throughout the game that just let people hang out. And that hanging out equals people then going and sitting at a table and talking in the game. And they just log in for with nothing to do, and they don't care because they're just going to hang out.
It is. It really seems to have a vibrant social atmosphere, like people that go in just to, as you said, hang, which is something I used to do. I guess I would say the peak of my World of Warcraft experience, kind of in the BC Wrath of the Lich King days, where I would just log in just to like talk to my guildmates and whatnot. Now I would say back then it was still pretty rare that we would go to the same location to socialize, but to me it was like having come out of like late 90s internet culture, it replaced like AIM for me.
Yeah, that's a very much a unique thing of that time period, that you could talk across multiple servers and then be actually coordinating with each other. There was a magic to it at that point, which is now gone just from nature of the internet existing long enough. But Final Fantasy has recaptured that feeling because there's so much to do that's not Endgame. And as you said, one of the top tips people give is just enjoy the story, but it's also, treat it like a book. If you come across a chapter you don't like about characters you don't like, just put it down for a bit. Just say, okay, Just, you're going to sit by the bedside for a bit. I'll come back to you when I'm interested. It's very much a game you have at your own pace. And in that way, it's a classic RPG. And eventually, the story gets good enough like an RPG. Not just good for an MMO, but actually good for an RPG.
Yeah, it's... I haven't, like... I wouldn't say I've been, like, floored with any of the arcs so far with the starting experience. To give everyone an idea, like I think I just hit like 21 or 22, and I think I'm a little over leveled because I just got like my airship pass. So that's kind of where I'm at. But like individual characters have really stood out to me. As someone who likes Warcraft lore, like I'm one of those lore nerds that enjoys most of Warcraft lore. So that was kind of a concern coming in, is like, you know, as an old WoW player, yeah, I came from Warcraft 3, so I kind of came into that MMO already having a good idea of the state of the world and why things are important and who major players and major factions are in the fiction. And I don't know, Jack, about Final Fantasy, and something that's always kind of turned me off about the greater Final Fantasy like IP as a whole is like, why do it seems like they're all disconnected, and you know, each is kind of its own standalone story, and none of them have really ever grabbed me. But yeah, there's, I think I'm a little more inclined to care because of the MMO nature. Like this is a character that, you know, I can work on and I can grind on and keep, like it's my character for like a long-term game experience, which is, you know, what an MMO is. And so, yeah, I don't know. I think, I've been really grumpy about this game, and I think it's been working in its favor. I think I went in like, I'm not going to care about any of this stuff. I'm just going to skip. I went in expecting to skip through dialogue, and I found myself slowing down way more often than not. Every once in a while, like you said, there'd be a character I'm like, this feels like it's not going to be integral to the bigger plot, and it's not really grabbing me, and I would just skip through that stuff. But like every time I'm in that pirate town, I don't know the dude's name, but the guy that runs the inn, like is your main point of contact throughout most of the starting zone. I love that guy. He's great. I have a hard time reading what the hell he's saying because it's written in pirate speak, but I find him charming as hell. So every time he pops back up, I take my time and read. It takes longer too, because again, I have no idea what he's saying, but.
Well, and that's that charm that so many people have talked about, the Jaina knows your name sort of factor. Someone says, good to see you again. You're like, you're right. I do know you. Oh, geez, let me remember what happened last time I was here.
That's like again, I don't know why. Probably because I don't play JRPGs, right? So it makes me think of playing Zelda games where I would walk into the shop and the shopkeep would be like, Link, how you doing? I got a new shield for you. Like, that's what it feels like while the quirky music plays in the background.
Definitely.
So it's landing in a way, I don't know. I figured there was something charming with how much this MMO has been popping off and people have been flocking to it, but I don't know. Like, I wasn't expecting like to find charm in the places I did personally. It's just, like I said, I think I went in with going in being like, all right, I'm probably not going to like this. I think helped. I was like, oh, you know, I am kind of having a good time. I've been shopping around for an MMO. I've tried ESO. I tried New World. ESO is like too different. Like, I think it's too good. Like, it plays like an Elder Scrolls game and it feels like an Elder Scrolls game. And I think that's a good thing, but like, I have to pay a little too much attention. I need my tab targeting. I want to be able to listen to a podcast while I enjoy this. And to me, Final Fantasy, it is that. It's different enough from WoW while still adjacent enough, like similar enough, where I don't feel like I'm taking my entire MMO mindset and tossing it out the window.
Oh, there's a billion people out there who are saying, I fall asleep to this game and that's a good thing. Like, it is just chill. You're reading, it's tab targeting, it's slow, you're walking through town.
It's a part of MMOs that I don't think it's talked about enough, which is like there is a passiveness that I kind of look for, and I don't think I actively really acknowledge it enough or think about it enough. To me, I think being able to passively play an MMO is something I do look for, because I play enough other games that are, you know, kind of, they require more real-time nuance and reaction time, whereas there's something very relaxing about tab targeting and just going out on a what I would consider a traditional run-of-the-mill MMO quest.
Something that also just jumped out to me was the flashiness of abilities. Coming from World of Warcraft, where your biggest warrior cooldown will be like 3 shields barely hovering in front of your face, to suddenly a full bunker summoning around me.
I would go to bat for Shockwave in WoW. I like that. I think that's a cooler looking ability than what you just described. But yes, I'm also, I think, interested in making it different for myself because I've never played a caster for a long period of time in World of Warcraft. I think the longest I ever stuck with a caster was like a warlock for like maybe 1 patch cycle in raiding, and then I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go back to tanking. I miss tanking. But I started with what's the starter class, because I know there's a difference. This is how fresh I am to this. I know there's a difference. Like there's you pick a class to start with, but then eventually you declare a job, and that's more of what WoW fans think of as like a traditional class because it's more specialized, right? So I think the class for caster is like called Arcanist or something. If you do the starter caster class, I don't know. Anyway,
they divide off. Yes.
Yeah, that's what I started with, and so I've got this little, what the hell is it called? I even looked it up because I couldn't remember the damn
your Pokemon
pets are called carbuncles, which is just ridiculous. Makes me laugh. I love that they're called carbuncles. They look like glowing Eevees as a Pokemon fan, but yeah, so that's what I'm rolling around with, and so also by that nature, like of rolling around as a caster, it feels different enough. While the tab targeting and having an action bar feels familiar. And I'm really enjoying it. Yeah, dude, the casting animations are great. Well, I mean, they're so on brand, like anime dramatic.
And you can turn them up and down, by the way, in the options. There are no add-ons in this game at all that you need to prepare because everything's in the game for you with little levers. So if you think everyone else being flashy is frustrating, well, you just go in there and pull down their bar until you can't see them anymore, and you're the only one flashing to such a degree should you choose. Or if your own abilities are too flashy, you can't see where you're supposed to stand in a raid, you might turn those down as well.
This is probably a good time to kind of talk about like kind of tips just for being a new player, because I got to say, I think the number one thing that improved my play experience over anything else was turning off the damn player nameplates, because every time I would go through town, it was nothing but text because that's how many damn people are playing this game. Not that the wait is long, but that's the other thing. Like, I knew this was popular, but if I log in to try and knock out a few quests over lunch, in the middle of the day, there is still a wait. It's usually less than a minute to get in, but like, dear God.
I had to do that as well. Yeah, so you also have like pet names active, and it is very overwhelming. The systems menu and the character menu there can really, really help out with that stuff. Also, something that I immediately was concerned about was that there's no looting of things you kill.
Yeah, that one took a while coming from WoW. Like, killing something, it is just it is an actual like rhythmic memory. It's just muscle memory. Kill something, right click. And it took probably 3 days for me to stop doing that.
It's a tough thing to get over, but it's little conveniences like that, those little character bits in the game, like having no racial bonuses for what you're selecting, what you're building, and saying, wait, can this one guy really be all these jobs? That once you kind of get into the game, you go, oh yeah, well, why would I stop to loot all the time? I'm the Warrior of Light after all. I don't got time to bend over every time I kill something. And you just you start to feel that rhythm.
Yeah, it's much more about just get out and like get to playing. And it's amazing what it's no looting feels minor, but when you do it as much as you do in a game like World of Warcraft, playing a game that controls very similarly, it just feels so much more fluid as a result, because you're removing this one very minor thing, but it's a minor thing that you do constantly, and now that's out. So there's this kind of constant. The action feels more constant as a result, which I liked. I liked quite a bit. So I know you're I think of you as not new, but I know like you're still a newer player compared to, folks that have been playing for years.
Oh yeah.
What were some things that made your life a lot easier that I should probably know about?
Okay, so what I put up on screen here, and we'll include the link to this as well, is the important blue quests. Because when I got in the game, there were 3 different kinds of quests.
I have a story about this.
There were the flamey exclamation points There were plus sign blue exclamation points, and then there were normal exclamation points. So like a good World of Warcraft player, I hit the road and I just went, oh, gimme. I grabbed every quest I possibly could, and they all seemed really disjointed, and none of them were taking me to centralized areas where I was completing them at the same time. I became massively over-leveled. All you do is just play the main story quests, and then take breaks anytime you have job quests.
Yeah, and do the blue job quests, right?
Those are very important.
This is my story. We logged in. You're like, let's group up. We haven't played together yet. You seem to be enjoying it. I think you were like secretly waiting, like, is Garrett gonna bounce off of this? Is going to be another stupid hobby that he doesn't stick with? So we finally log in last night, and you're like, yeah, let's go do stuff together. And then somehow by some virtue of wondering where I was along my progression, you were like, well, have you been doing your blue job quests? I'm like, what? And then sure enough, I go back to find out, like I go visit the Arcanist Guild, and I had a level 10 quest sitting there waiting for me. I was level 20 last night, Kyle. So I do this level 10 quest, and I get my second carbuncle, which gives me like a shield ability and is a little more about survivability. And I think to myself, boy, this would have been really helpful 10 levels ago.
It's easy to let those things pass by.
Yes, there's nothing else on that side of the main city. So there's no real reason to kind of passively stop into the Arcanist Guild. And I had just kind of forgotten about it. Like clearly early on, you get a quest to go out there and mess with it. But luckily, I'm pretty sure, because now I'm locked out again, I think, until like a mid-20 quest. So I'm pretty sure that was the only major ability I missed, because I didn't get anything else. And if I did, I am unaware of it. So please comment below if you went through the caster starting experience and I missed something horrible.
You want to know something else you didn't miss?
What else did I not miss?
Talent points.
Oh, you're right. There's no talent points.
Right. And when you play World of Warcraft, it can feel like it's this really important part of customizing your character. You need those rewards every level. But as you just mentioned, you didn't even notice. You didn't even notice you were really leveling. You were just playing the game. It's one of those things we feel like is required, but you play a different game and all of a sudden you're like, wait, well, maybe this isn't such a big deal. But back to the blue quest for a moment here. All the blue quests are optional unlocks, and not all of them are terribly important. Go through this list and find the ones you really find interesting, like level 15. That's when you unlock your glamours, which is the name of your transmogs. You can unlock the hair cutter and that sort of thing through these smaller story quests. Hunting log, challenge log is a really important one if you're looking for bonus XP. Just getting that from the beginning means you'll be getting more XP along the side. So I'll hook you up with that, Garrett. The challenge log is something I missed out for a very long time, and I hit a lot of XP walls because of it.
Okay, so I need to do that. I definitely want to unlock haircuts because, I mean, this game is weeb as hell, and it's got some great haircuts.
Yeah, I look good.
that you do. Also, some of the starter gear is so unintentionally hilarious. Like I am wearing fuchsia tights with like high-heeled sandals as a male character, and I love it. Like I look fabulous. It's great.
I was a gladiator into paladin, so I was very much like doublets and chainmails and stuff of that note, including one ridiculous full armor set with the sort of nose cone visor.
Nice. Yeah, there's a really wide swath of styles of armor in this game, which I really like. As someone who definitely comes to MMOs partially for the paper doll aspect of things.
Definitely. Well, it's an important part of that, and make sure you unlock those glamours along the way. Beyond that, a lot of the stuff is going to be just trial and error as you get into it. But I think one of my biggest concern was money and fast travel. And you shouldn't be concerned, and you should fast travel all the time. Just teleport everywhere and don't think about it.
At the moment, I feel like I'm burning through Gil faster than because I have been teleporting, and I feel like I'm burning through it at a rate that I'm uncomfortable with.
Don't think about it. Don't worry about your money. It's not a big deal. Just go teleport. Click the quest on the side. Click the map. Click where you're going, and just keep teleporting everywhere. You're gonna traverse this continent a billion times by the time done with the main story quest of just A Realm Reborn.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, and that's another thing. Like, I'm kind of wrapping my head around is that like it seems like there's there's a full arc to be completed that is the original quote unquote Realm Reborn aspect of Final Fantasy XIV.
You mean the old content that's a bit old?
That's my idea. Yeah,
yes.
Is that you do kind of want to see that through to completion, or do you kind of have to?
For the main story quest, you must.
Okay, gotcha.
And,
so it is basically required. Gotcha.
And it is older. There's a couple of the kill 3 kind of quests. The characters aren't really all that evolved. It was more of a production thing. Even once you complete the first set of raids, as it were, that climaxes the storyline for A Realm Reborn, you enter the quest that they put out between the expansions, between A Realm Reborn and Heavensward, and things start getting a lot more character-driven. Voice acting becomes more important. They dramatically change the cast from what you would know as more of like traditional Funimation anime voiceover styles to actual like BBC radio produced kind of actors, and they understand the lore better. With your old Funimations, like they're often just saying things. The actors are there for an hour and they got to say all the lines, and they don't exactly make sense, nor do they know who they're talking to or what they're talking about. That really changes once you get over the hump that is A Realm Reborn.
Gotcha. Okay. Because it hasn't seemed too crusty to me, no, for lack of a better word.
The translations are amazing, even to the point where they make sure to include what we would know as like references and English puns to our quest names. And you can be like, wait, what's this? Is it the same in Japanese? Probably not. There's an extremely, I've heard great praise of the translation team over and over again. It's well written, but as you mentioned, sometimes you're reading pirate speak and it's hard to read. Let's blow through a couple of other common mistakes before we end, just for anybody who out there who needs to hear these. There are positionals in this game if you're certain classes. There are flanks and there are rears. Flanks are attack from the side for bonus. Rear is attack from the back. If you don't know that, you might be attacking from the wrong place. Make sure you have your Oath on as tank, because you basically have infinite aggro at that point. But otherwise, you're not tanking. Healers do damage too. There is no leveling class. If you're from World of Warcraft, you might think, oh no, I'm playing like a healer. I must be leveling slower than everybody else. Not the case. Everybody does about the same damage across the board. Once you're in a group, it's about what job you have to do. Tanks stop doing as much damage because they're working on aggro, and healers stop damaging as much because now they're helping everybody heal, but no one's going to get mad at you for not being at 100%. The limit break bar is everyone's. Tanks don't use it. And anything else? Oh, the suggest gear button on your character sheet. It's perfect. It works great.
You showed me that last night, and it has made the game so much easier.
It actually suggests good gear, and you can just press that every time you get something if you're confused.
Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Rings were like weirdly hard for me to decipher in the beginning because the stats are kind of subtle, and it helped me with those big time.
Yeah, weapons are most important, chests, then legs, but go for item level over everything else if you don't understand the stats, and there are like 30 different stat types.
Gotcha. Yeah, I've just started using the item, like the equipment suggestions, right? The other thing that like kind of threw me for a loop was, robes eat up my hat slot, so you need to do math if you're like, well, is a robe worth it, or should I wear chest and hat, like, again, or head slot, I guess.
You can't get into that math, but the suggest gear button works just fine.
Yes, I'm enjoying that. Definitely comment below if you can kind of quickly explain when maybe I should not be suggesting gear. I'm kind of curious what folks who have played this much longer than me have to add to it, but. Yeah, man. Coming from World of Warcraft, I'm surprised how much I like this, because I tend to have an aversion to anything that has a whiff of JRPG.
Well, welcome to you. Know that I'm being intensely cagey in my excitement. There's a lot of things I don't want to accidentally build up anything for you, but I'm very, very excited to have you play in.
You're very good about not overselling things. Which I appreciate about you. So, anyways, let us know, folks. What are your favorite beginner tips for Realm Reborn? Please comment below and school me. I legitimately want explanations because I feel like I've spent enough time going in ignorantly and kind of learning naturally through the game. So now I'm kind of like, all right, what I'm asking everyone I know, what do you wish you knew at the beginning of playing A Realm Reborn? So comment below. I think it's going to wrap it up for this one. Go ahead and follow Kyle and me on Twitter. Kyle is at Kyle Ferguson. I am at Garrett Art. You can talk to us directly on there. Other than that, if you're watching on YouTube, make sure to like and subscribe and ring the notification bell to take control over the algorithm. We upload every Tuesday afternoon. For our podcast listeners, don't forget to subscribe if you're streaming the podcast version, because that helps us out as well. Other than that, send your emails to feedback@nexusgamingnews.com. Until next time, good luck and have fun, everyone.